What's up, guys? So in this video, we're going to talk about cryptocurrencies a bit, specifically XRP Ripple. So I know I haven't talked about cryptocurrency a lot on this channel, but I plan to change that, and I plan to expand to other assets in the future because this has been a stock market investing channel, and with the recent pandemic shift and basically e-commerce and things like that, digital assets and things, we're going to see a lot of asset classes skyrocket. And this channel is called Investor Trip. It's about global financial talk for global investors. And I know a lot of you guys don't just live in the United States; you live in many different countries all over the world. So I wanted to kind of holistic view on investing, not just basically US traded stocks. So this is kind of my first attempt at it on this channel to kind of expand the content a bit. And this video, we're going to talk about why I think XRP will make you a millionaire. So I know there's a lot of crypto channels out there, and guys, I am not a crypto expert. That's full disclaimer here, but I will give you a full disclosure that I do own Ripple, and I've been buying Ripple basically mostly this month. I've been buying it here and there, and I know the price is a little high, but for me it's to get as many coins as possible. And I'm going to tell you why I think Ripple will make you a millionaire in the future. So I'm not exactly sure exactly when the date is. It could be as early as 2020, 25, or maybe 2030, but I know that eventually we are making that shift towards, and I think Ripple along with Bitcoin are probably the two of the best ones that you can buy. So before I get into it, guys, please give me a thumbs up for this video, and I hope you enjoyed this content. I hope this content is well informative, and I hope to provide you kind of a well-researched thesis because I've been doing a lot of thinking about making a video like this, and I felt that this is just now the time to present this information. So let's get right into it, guys. So first off, I want to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. So once again, I am not a cryptocurrency expert. You really need to do your own due diligence. There's lots of websites out there. There's lots of fantastic channels. There's lots of books you can buy on Amazon. I would say just start learning, because for most people, they hear about Bitcoin and Ripple and Ethereum and all these things, but what are they really? So kind of here's my my explanation for beginners. Cryptocurrency is basically like the people's currency. It's a decentralized currency that's not controlled by the government or the banks, and it's the people's currency. So why is this valuable? Well, I know a lot of people are saying, well, cryptocurrencies, they don't produce anything. It's all a scam and things like that. Well, not exactly. Because if you take a look at the US dollar is not backed by anything. And the majority of the US dollars in circulation are actually digital credits. So it's not actually actual physical dollars that are in circulation. It's basically credit sitting in your bank account, or credit sitting in your Robinhood account, or credit sitting in your PayPal account. The point of the matter is, if that everybody in, let's say, the United States ran to the bank and tried to actually pull out their physical money, it's not possible, because these banks, they use fractional reserve banking where they don't actually hold all of the deposits there. So already the US dollar is basically a digitalized currency. But the problem with the US dollar, I think, in the long run, is that people are just thinking that it's maybe to the government and central banks may have too much control. Now, obviously, this is a whole different subject, and I plan to expound upon it in a future video. But right now, I just want to talk about cryptocurrency. But there is, a truth that the US dollar has lost value over time. So now I want to talk a little bit about that. So currencies by nature are going to lose value over time, and this is due to inflation. Now, inflation is basically prices are going to increase, which is going to reduce your purchasing power. And for some of you guys out there, if any of you guys, if you're at least over 25 years old, if you guys are teenagers watching this channel, maybe you don't understand. But for me, I remember when I was a kid, sometimes my mom would give me $1 and I could go to the convenience store or something like that. I could go to like a CVS and I could walk out with a handful of things. So I'm in my mid 30s now, and if you take $1 to the grocery store, you can barely buy anything. So, I mean, the purchasing power of the US dollar is real. And here's a picture to kind of illustrate that. It says, in fact, the dollar has lost over 96% of its value. And obviously part of that is back in 1972 when the government took the dollar off the gold standard and turned it into a currency. But guys, I'm not saying that the US dollar is worthless. I'm not saying things like that. The US dollar, in my opinion, is still the most useful and one of the strongest currencies in the world. And there's a reason why a lot of people still see America as the land of gold, and where you can come to America with basically without even 2 pennies to rub in your pocket, and you can end up being a millionaire. So the US dollar has done a lot for a lot of people. It's turned a lot of people first generation millionaires, and it's helped a lot of people live a life they can only dream of. But the problem with the US dollar is that, as it says here, how does the Federal Reserve divide by printing more money? So printing more money causes monetary inflation. So as we saw here with the whole pandemic, the US government, they basically pumped out this stimulus package to basically save a lot of the airlines and basically to send money to citizens who are really in need. But this has also caused a substantial explosion in the price for a lot of assets. So we saw the NASDAQ stocks absolutely soar because, in my opinion, I think a lot of people took their stimulus check and started trading on Robinhood. And we've seen a lot of other asset classes increase, like cryptocurrencies and even sports cards and even artwork. So we've seen an explosion in prices, but it's not really that these things are worth more money. It's just that it takes more dollars to buy the exact same thing. So to give you guys an illustration of that, I believe back in maybe 100 years ago, you could have purchased like an American gold silver eagle for maybe like 10 or 12 bucks. Now the price of gold for 1 ounce is $2,000. So even though the coin hasn't changed, the amount of US dollars it takes to acquire that same coin has changed. So obviously this is going to increase because as the government makes more money, it's going to cause more money to do. So that's why I think it's really important to invest your money, because if you just take your money and you just park it in the bank, when you come back 10 years later, sure, you're going to have your money, but your purchasing power is going to be reduced. So it's very important to, obviously, you want to have an emergency fund, you want to have some cash on hand, but you need to invest in assets. So now let's talk about cryptocurrencies. So as you can see here, we go back to this chart, we can see here that the top three cryptocurrencies are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. So what makes Ripple different from Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is considered like the digitalized gold, and it's pretty scarce. There's only around 18 million coins in circulation, and the total market cap is around $200 billion. So I think that Bitcoin is an excellent investment. I'm not against Bitcoin, but in this video, I'm going to specifically talk about why Ripple can make you a millionaire. And there's a couple of reasons why. So first of all, Bitcoin would be like gold. Gold is usually hoarded. So yes, there is some gold used in cell phones and things like that. For the majority of gold transactions, it's hoarded. But we also know that silver is much more used in industry. So you've got silver in your computer, you've got silver in your cell phone and your television, and it's everywhere. And a lot of companies are really dependent on silver to sell products and things like that. And then also people use silver for jewelry and things like that. So silver has a lot of uses. Well, that is kind of the same, analogy that I want to talk about. For me, Ripple is like digital silver. So let's take a look at the circulating supply here. Why can it make you a millionaire? Well, we've got around 44 billion coins. And if you take a look at the total market cap of Ripple, it's only $12 billion. So why is this important? Well, what's going to make the price of Ripple skyrocket so much that you could possibly potentially invest maybe a couple $1,000s in Ripple, and in a few years you could become a millionaire? Reportedly partnered with Ripple. So I'm just going to get right to it. It says, according to an August 7th tweet by Panos Mek, financial analyst, Ripple reportedly confirmed a partnership with Bank of America, fourth largest bank in Mexico. So why is this important? Well, as you can see here, the Bank of America, the new development is okay. So it says that this means they should partner with Ripple and make use of its API. The Ripple network will see an unprecedented amount of use across the globe. So obviously this is a little bit, it's not really 100% clear, but apparently there is a partnership. And I just want you guys to know who exactly owns Bank of America. And I think this is a really important thing as well. So if you take a look at another article. Okay, so this article was posted on Markets Insider. It talks about Warren Buffett plowed 2.1 billion into Bank of America in 12 days. So Warren Buffett, one of the most well-known investors of all time, considered by many as the greatest investor of all time. The guy's one of the richest guys in the world, and he's basically, when he takes action, people take notice. So as it says here, it says Warren Buffett shelled out 2.1 billion of Bank of America, boosting his stake in the banking giant to almost 12%. So, as of now, Berkshire is Bank of America's biggest shareholder, and the Bank of America is the second largest. Berkshire's largest holding, and we all know what's recently happening with Apple, the most valuable company in the world. So obviously, this guy, he knows what he's doing. His biggest holding was the most valuable company in the world before it became the most valuable company in the world. So anytime Warren Buffett is doing something, I'm paying attention. So I've seen that both of these articles were kind of posted within the same week. And what this lets me know is that obviously, I'm pretty sure Berkshire Hathaway is the largest shareholder in Bank of America. I'm pretty sure they're kind of familiar with the Ripple network. And the fact that Bank of America signed up with the Ripple network means that they definitely, when companies this large, they do research for weeks, sometimes even months before they make any decision. So Bank of America has definitely looked at the potential for Ripple and decided that they're going to be better off joining up with it than kind of avoiding it. So now I want to tell you guys a little bit more about some of the other, obviously much smaller companies that are involved with Ripple. So okay, so these aren't really like big companies, obviously like Bank of America, Berkshire Hathaway, but I think everything starts small. You start out as a baby and then you develop into man or woman, and I think this is going to be the similar thing with cryptocurrency. I think it's in its infancy. I think people just don't really understand it, and when people don't understand something, they're more likely to mock it. They're more likely to ignore it because when we don't understand things as people, it makes us feel uncomfortable. So the thing is about Ripple is that there's already a lot of companies and merchants and things like that accepting it. So we've got people for hosting web services. You've got gambling on here. Uh, Obviously, these aren't vitamins and things like that. So obviously, these aren't huge companies. But the point is that there is already a Ripple economy. People are already using this to transact for goods. And since the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything, it's basically people have just accepted the US dollar as a way to transact. And it's the same thing with all currencies all over the world, whether you're using the euro or you're using the peso or you're using rubles or you're using the yuan or whatever currency you're using. It's the people that make the currency valuable, not necessarily the governments, but you and me, the guy down the street, one of your family members, the guy that, owns the barber shop down on the corner, or the guy that's selling fruit, at his fruit stand or something like that, or the mechanic that fixes your car. People make currencies valuable, and we've seen the same thing with the recent surge in the stock market. Stocks had always been traded by institutional investors, but what took kind of those Nasdaq stocks to all-time highs was people like you and me, trading on Robinhood, trading on Webull, trading on E-Trade. It's people. So all the reason why Ripple can go so much higher is because if people start using it, the price is going to skyrocket. So let's take a look at the market cap here. We're looking at a market cap of like $12 billion. That's not a lot of money. I mean, Apple alone is worth 2 trillion in terms of market cap. So if there's any way that people, and I think this is going to happen because I've seen this happen a lot of times in my life, when people see something new, they kind of shun it, and then next thing you know, it's accepted. And the best example I can have is just this whole situation with the smartphone. I just completely missed the boat on that one. I remember seeing the first smartphone, and I can't tell you how much I thought it was crazy. I had a Nokia basic little phone. I loved the phone, like it was, I went everywhere with it. And I think I saw someone using a Palm Pilot or something like that. I didn't understand that that was the future. So I think that this is the same thing with people or cryptocurrencies. I think people are just going to realize, hey, obviously it's not going to replace US dollar. Obviously it's not going to replace gold and silver, but it can be another option to transact. And the thing about Ripple is that I've actually used Ripple to send money to people, and it's so fast. It literally, the transaction happens in seconds. Whereas with Bitcoin, it takes a lot longer. So the fact that you can easily transact with it, all people need to do is basically accept it. Once it's accepted in society, I think it has a lot farther to go. And the fact that it's only a $12 billion market cap, we could say even if you 10 times the market cap, which would do about 120 billion, the price of Ripple would 10 times. So if you put like $1,000 in, your $1,000 would be worth 10,000. So let's say the Ripple market cap over in the next few years, let's say it's multiplied by 100. So now instead of it being 12 billion, it's at 1.2 trillion, right? Well, then your $1,000 investment is worth 100,000. So now let's think super long term. Let's think, the governments continue printing money and more people are transacting online than ever. The amount of retail spending online is much more closer to 50-50 and things like that. I don't think it's outrageous that Ripple could end up being something like $12 trillion in the future. I just think that we're going to see an explosion of online transactions, and people are going to be using many different ways to transact. And I think it's really ignorant to just say, oh, cryptocurrencies are worthless. Well, you know what, you can take a look at a lot of other asset classes. There are people out there spending $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for a limited a pair of sneakers. I mean, these are shoes that people wear on their feet, yet people are spending ridiculous amounts of money for them. I just recently saw a sports card sell online for like $30,000. I believe it was like a 1986 Jerry Rice Topps card. I remember when I was a kid, you could have got that card for a couple $100. So I've seen so many other things that people would call ridiculous skyrocket in price. Why couldn't Ripple do that? So it could just take a couple. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to invest like $10 or $20 or $100 in Ripple and become a millionaire. But if you invest $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, I don't see any reason why this potential digital asset class could just skyrocket in the future. So what I'm doing here personally is I want to kind of end this video now because it's running on a little bit, but I'm buying basically two assets right now. I'm buying Bitcoin and I'm buying Ripple, but I'm spending more money into Ripple because I really think that that's the one that people are going to transact with. And the fact that it's a limited circulating reply, yes, Ripple can obviously, they sometimes sell the coins, but it's never going to be like the US dollar where it's just unlimited, outrageous. And then you've got all of the digital currencies all over the world combined. The amount of currency in society is outrageous. But the good thing about Ripple is that it's universal. It can go across borders, different languages and stuff like that. People can say XRP, so whether they live in Spain or whether they live in US or whether they live in Brazil, it's basically the same. So that's one of the nice unique features about cryptocurrencies. So guys, that's my spiel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I made some good points here because like I said, I'm a crypto beginner. This is probably my second time buying cryptocurrency. I bought some earlier last year and ended up selling it. So now I'm back in the game, and I'm going to be making more videos on Ripple and Bitcoin, especially maybe even Ethereum. I don't really know that much about that one, but when I learn some more, I'll hopefully give you guys some content. So I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you want to see more crypto videos on this channel, just smash that red subscribe button, and I'll be sure to be covering this along with some other asset classes that I think can make you a lot of money, guys, because it's been an awesome an awesome decade so far. There's been a lot of problems as well, but there's been a lot of positive things, and that's what my goal is, to give you guys some value, and hopefully you guys can do some things to set up for your retirement and take care of your family and take care of yourself. So that's it until next time, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Take care.